Okay, so what better way to introduce the Super Nintendo to the North American masses than to package it with Super Mario World? And iconic it is. It still reigns up there in my personal book, and I'm sure other people's as well, as probably, one of the top 3, traditional 2D Mario games ever made. Just the colorful, the Mode 7, the music, as we've already discussed.
The character design.
Oh, the character design, the Koopa Kids.
Oh, God.
And also the cool little effects, like when you're climbing on the fence and you punch the thing and you can flip to the other side. You think in 1991 that was something special when we first saw that. Or like, how about one of the first levels when you're running and you see like the giant bullet bill that just covers the entire screen.
We weren't used to sprites that big.
Yeah.
Yes, kids. Sprites is what they called shit before they were like, whatever. Polygons, and then people stopped caring about terminology. But what an impressive game, and having kind of stemming off of Super Mario Brothers 3 and going from the Tanuki suit, would you call it, back in that?
Yep.
It was more like just a tail, but going from that and then having the cape. And then I love like the bonus stages. Well, not bonus stages, but whatever. You go and you have to collect all the coins. So you run, you go up the hill, and then you jump, and then you do get into that rhythm. So you're kind of doing this with your cape and getting all the coins and all that stuff. I love that. And there's a stage where they reinterpret an older Mario theme with I remember they did one with it's like an old school piano.
Oh, right. Yeah. It was on part of Star Road, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're right about that whole rhythm. I remember when I first got that game, getting into that rhythm with the cape was a bit difficult, but once I did, you're right. It was just it's like you could close your eyes and just...
And it was fun, and Star Road was awesome, and being able to go through the world and then having the opportunity to go back when you activated those colored blocks.
Yep.
That was cool.
And one more the trick, I think it was, if I remember correctly here, you find all 96 levels, and then when you go back and play the game over again, aren't the Koopas wearing Mario masks?
Yeah, something like that. But here again, this may be a theme for us in this episode, but the baseline, boss level. I don't even remember. I'll get pictures like some dude with a bass. He's kind of doing the funky chicken as he's doing it. And it's whatever. Anyways, Super Mario World.
Yep.
If you haven't played this game, play this game. Seriously, it was probably one of my favorite experiences of the 16-bit era, and especially that being a launch title and playing that in 1991.
And the success of Super Mario World with its style helped our next favorite Mario game of the 16-bit era, which was Mario All-Stars, which essentially took the 8-bit code from Mario, the USA version of Mario 2, and then threw in the Japanese Mario 2, just called it Lost Levels, and Mario 3, which is a lot of people consider still be the best Mario game ever made, and just 16-bit-ified, if that's a word, I want to make that a word, the graphics.
Well, it's kind of it was like the early 90s equivalent of an HD remake.
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go, Halo Anniversary Edition wasn't a new idea. It's been done before. But it was great being able, and the best part about it is it played exactly like the 8-bit counterparts. Yep. The only difference is any kind of hardware limitations that you would have experienced on the NES or the Famicom weren't present with this one. Flickering, maybe a bit of slowdown. Yeah. See, the thing is to be honest, guys, I briefly played Part 3 on the NES, but I just absolutely manhandled it on the Super Nintendo. I got Mario All-Stars, and I just systematically cleared one after the other. And you know what? Lost Levels wasn't brought out here because it was deemed to be too tough for us. I mashed that. I sucked at it. You can exit the screen for this part.
I tried. I'm really terrible at Super Mario Brothers 2.
But that's kind of Lost Levels. Because I don't care what anybody says about the US Super Mario 2. What's it from?
Doki Doki Panic.
Why can't they just call it the Super Mario Brothers 2 with Doki Doki?
And everyone, just a quick little clip about Mario 2 and how everyone now complains about Mario 2. In fact, everyone loved it back in the day. And they say it's not a true Mario game. It's a Miyamoto game. Mm-hmm. Doki Doki Panic is still a Miyamoto game, just reskinned.
And it still had awesome music.
Exactly, yeah. And now all those characters like Shy Guys are so iconic, they've now been come into the Mario world now with other games, and you know, the other characters from Mario 2 or from Doki Doki Panic are now Mario canon.
Exactly. So just accept it. It was all a dream anyways. Right, guys? And I guess closing off the Mario games that we like from the 16-bit era is Super Mario RPG. And it's funny that I'm talking about this because really I didn't play it at all. But I watched a friend play it an awful lot. And for a turn-based RPG, I love the fact that it gave you an extended limit of interactivity in terms of, what was it? Was it the timing of your hits or something? Gave you multiple hits?
They like, it was developed by Square at the time, and they knew, like, even though RPGs in the early 90s had become way more successful, like, and thanks to the Super Nintendo with the Final Fantasies and the Secret of Manas and all those fantastic RPGs, but they also realized they're now trying to push an RPG on maybe a non-RPG crowd. So having the more intuitive battle system where you just don't select your attack and kind of wait, which we accepted playing Final Fantasy, but the Mario crowd had none of that. And they used pre-rendered graphics, which was a very new thing at the time.
Yeah.
And me and my friends were playing it. Actually, an ex-girlfriend of mine used to play it a lot, and I used to sit there and watch her play it. And we'd always make fun of the Geno beam, because that's that's an attack, and it's called the Geno beam. And if growing up where we grew up, hearing that term is just absolutely hilarious.
Wow. John, this is your moment to cut that part out. I fucking love Sonic. I love Sonic.
Sonic is amazing. I called in sick to school to play Sonic 3 when it came out. And Sonic is one of the reasons why I bought a Genesis, and I was excited for the Sega CD because I knew there was a Sonic game coming out on it, and just Sonic is just the early Sonics were so good. And it's one of those games where I don't think we've been blinded by nostalgia, because a lot of those games earlier they thought really good and you go back and play them, and now they're either not so good or whatever. The Sonic games have held true, and we're talking about the early ones here, like 1, 2, 3, Sonic and Knuckles.
Sonic CD.
Yeah. Still, my favorite Sonic game of all time is still Sonic CD. Mm-hmm. And I loved all the others, and I really loved, actually, one thing a lot of people were confused about Sonic and Knuckles, because I remember working at a game store when Sonic and Knuckles came out, because it's like it's advertising where you could attach the other Sonic cartridges onto it. A lot of people coming into the store thought that's all it was, like you could play as another character in Sonic 3 or Sonic 2, but Sonic and Knuckles was technically, even though it wasn't called Sonic 4, it was an actual whole new game, which a lot of people didn't realize. And if I remember correctly, one of the games that really pushed the Genesis, what it could do in terms of color, because Genesis had a very limited color palette, but some of these stages, like when you look at the stage with the mushrooms and the jungle, the earlier jungle stages, were just absolutely gorgeous for a system that wasn't really known for putting out some really colorful games.
That's absolutely right, Big Mike. But when it comes to the Sonic games, obviously Sonic 1 was very revolutionary. The new character embodied like the attitude, the tude that they wanted to relate to the young peoples in the early 1990s. And then Sonic 2 came out with, Sonic Tuesday, Sonic 3, Sonic Knuckles. But Sonic CD, again, the baseline, it was absolutely fantastic. I don't know what it was about the Sonic CD, and we'll talk about that in a bit, but when something came out on Sonic CD, it was special, and it played better. And I don't know how to quantify that, because that's even like, this is really off topic, but even comparing NHL 94 for Sega Genesis to NHL 94 on Sega CD, the Sega CD version played a hell of a lot better. I don't know why. Anyways, when it comes to Sonic games versus Mario games,
ooh, gonna make you choose. I almost want to cop out and say even. I got it. I know it's a cop out answer, but man, they're both so good for their own reasons.
I will give you the tiebreaker. Sonic by a CD.
Yep.